Welcome to this explainer. Let's dive right into the wild, rebellious, and honestly, sometimes pretty dark origins of America's most famous patriotic songs. If you love a good summer barbecue or a massive fireworks display, you've probably heard these anthems a million times. But today we're uncovering the fascinating history hiding right there in the lyrics and breaking down exactly what makes the ultimate modern playlist.
Before we fire up the grill and blast those modern pop and rock hits, we've got to ask a question about our absolute oldest tune. It's something we've all probably wondered about since kindergarten, but rarely actually answered. Why on earth did Yankee Doodle call a feather macaroni? We all sang it, but trust me, the real meaning is way wilder and way more insulting than you ever thought.
Section 1. The first diss track.
Let's trace this all the way back to the Revolutionary War, for what was essentially America's very first diss track. It is totally crazy to think about, but this incredibly upbeat, catchy tune that we all think of as the quintessential American song, it was actually one of our earliest protest songs, and it was originally weaponized by the British. The British military literally used the song as a form of derision, a musical insult directed right at the American colonists.
The way this evolved over time is just fascinating. Back in the 1750s, the British started using the word Yankee just to make fun of the colonists. By the 1760s, the full song Yankee Doodle was in wide circulation. But it definitely wasn't a song of pride. It was a parody meant to completely belittle the colonial militias. But here is the brilliant twist. The Americans leaned into it. Legend has it that during the 1781 British surrender at Yorktown, the Marquis de Lafayette actually ordered the Continental Fife and Drum Corps to blast Yankee Doodle right back in the faces of the defeated British soldiers. They took a devastating insult and flipped it into the ultimate victory anthem.
Section 2. Decoding Yankee Doodle.
To really get how deep this mockery cut back in the 18th century, we have to decode the chorus. The biggest takeaway here? Macaroni had absolutely zero to do with pasta. It was a massive dig at fashion. See, macaroni was actually a term for a mid to late 18th century trend of effeminate men who wore ridiculously oversized wigs, tight breeches, and tiny little hats. The British were basically saying the colonists were trying way too hard to look stylish and just failing miserably.
And the roast gets even harsher from there. The word doodle generally meant a foolish or trifling person, basically an idiot. But it gets worse. If you look at a slang dictionary published in 1785, doodle was also remarkably vulgar slang for a young boy's anatomy. Just imagine playing a cheerful, catchy little melody at your enemy while essentially hurling that kind of incredibly low-class insult at them.
And finally, there's the feather. By singing about sticking a feather in his cap, the British were essentially calling the Americans weak, foolish courtiers who were just playing dress-up and pretending to be soldiers. That feather was meant to mark someone who was super privileged but totally lacked any real physical agility or grit. It was a huge, incredibly condescending slap in the face to their military capabilities.
But hey, the Americans fought back with their own music too. Founding father John Dickinson actually penned these incredibly defiant lyrics for what he called the Liberty Song. He wrote, "In freedom we're born and in freedom we'll live. Our purses are ready. Steady, boys, steady." And the absolute genius part? He set those defiant, patriotic American words directly over a super famous British naval tune. It was a total masterclass in hijacking the media of the day to spread a revolutionary message.
Section 3. Misunderstood modern anthems.
You know, just like those hidden 18th century insults, the 20th century gave us these massive stadium rock hits that hide much deeper, darker realities right beneath their upbeat melodies. Take Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. Millions of people blast this on the 4th of July, pumping their fists, thinking it's this rah-rah patriotic anthem, but they are completely missing the actual story. The verses are a tragic, gritty narrative about a Vietnam War veteran returning to a hometown in a country that has totally changed and basically left him behind.
Springsteen himself has brilliantly explained this disconnect. He points out that the pride is all in the chorus. The spiritual part, the hope, that's the chorus. But the blues, the harsh daily realities, those are all hidden in the details of the verses. He purposefully masked a really difficult, gritty story of a veteran inside this roaring, hopeful sound. And honestly, it's that intense friction between the soaring melody and the harsh reality that makes the song such a complex piece of Americana. It's a similar story with Martina McBride's 1993 country smash, Independence Day. The chorus is massive. Let freedom ring, let the white dove sing. And it sounds exactly like a fireworks celebration. But if you look past the celebratory language, the song is actually a deeply personal, incredibly tragic story about a woman taking a desperate, final stand against domestic abuse. It's about a survivor fighting for her own personal liberation, which just goes to show that songs about freedom can be deeply intimate and personal, not just national.
We see a similar theme of sacrifice in Billy Ray Cyrus's track Some Gave All. Cyrus actually wrote this one after a really profound meeting with a Vietnam veteran. The song zeroes in on the often overlooked, very heavy cost of freedom. It turns what could have easily been just a standard country song into a really raw, emotional tribute to those who served, rather than just a simple backyard party tune.
Section 4. The Ultimate Holiday Playlist.
So, now that we've unpacked the history and the hidden meanings, let's talk about how modern playlists bring all these genres together into the ultimate holiday soundtrack. A true, modern celebration totally reflects the diverse melting pot of the country. If you pull up a curated playlist for the holiday today, you're going to see an incredible mix. You've got rock legends like Tom Petty, right next to pop anthems like Katy Perry's Firework. Country music is there to anchor the barbecue vibes, while R&B and hip-hop bring that massive, infectious energy. The playlist of America is, quite literally, every genre combined.
And what's really beautiful is how completely diverse the artists are behind these celebrations. You've got Beyoncé's incredibly powerful rendition of the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, standing right alongside the energetic funk of James Brown's Livin' in America. You have Chuck Berry laying down classic rock and roll, right alongside Miley Cyrus singing about how hearing a familiar song on the radio can make you feel at home anywhere. These wildly different voices prove that music really is the ultimate uniter. Of course, we cannot forget the live music element. Long before anybody hits play on a digital playlist, live bands, full orchestras, and patriotic concerts are out there setting the stage in parks and down squares all across the country. It's this wonderful, enduring tradition that instantly connects us right back to those continental fife and drum corps playing live music centuries ago.
So, as you put together your playlist this year and hang out with friends and family, I want you to remember the deep, sometimes dark, and wonderfully complex stories hiding behind those catchy choruses. From an 18th century diss track to raw stories of veteran sacrifice and personal survival. Next time those fireworks start lighting up the sky, ask yourself, what history are you really singing along to? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.